Welcome to Rewatch and Rank. On this channel, we rewatch older TV shows, provide a summary and opinion on the episode before ranking each episode against each other. And today's episode is One Piece East Blue Saga Arlong Park Arc, episode 44, Setting Off with a Smile, Farewell to My Hometown, Kokoyashi Village. The episode, in a nutshell, is a brief reminder of what happens in the episode. So the episode begins with all of the villagers running off to tell all of the other villages that Arlong Park has fallen and that they're finally free, before we see that all of the village and presumably the surrounding villages have come together to throw a huge banquet feast in celebration of Arlong Park's fall. And of course, the Straw Hats are participating in it, and it does turn out to be a 3-day long party. Luffy eats like there is no tomorrow. Usopp stands on a platform and tells a series of stories about himself. Sanji goes to pick up girls after he himself has some eating or eats some things. Zoro gets treated by the doctor before he then has some drinks and takes some naps. And Nami gets her Arlong tattoo removed before getting a new tattoo to replace it. And we see some flashbacks of how when she got the initial tattoo, how she felt really terribly about it, that she felt like it was a brand. Nojiko then starts getting tattoos herself to help Nami feel better about her own tattoo so that they can both be decorated and match, which does help Nami feel better about it. Then we see Nami in her house saying goodbye to the orchard and Belmare while she talks to Belmare's ghost and leaves the 100 million berries she had already gathered behind. And then as she's heading out the door, Belmare's hand kind of pushes her forward so she can move on. And then it all comes full circle where the crew is now ready to set sail. And as they are about to leave, Nami isn't there. Then Nami appears and yells at them to start setting off, which they do. She then runs through the crowd, not giving them a chance to say goodbye before jumping onto the ship and revealing that she has pickpocketed all of the villagers, basically as her own way to say goodbye. And then she sails off. And as she sails off, we notice that Genzo no longer has his pinwheel, and it is revealed that the purpose behind the pinwheel was because when Nami was a baby, she was afraid of Genzo's face, and so he put a pinwheel on his hat, which made her laugh, and then, he was able to then interact with her without her crying, which was very sweet. But that's essentially what this episode was a celebration feast, tying up some loose ends of Nami's backstory, and then returning to sailing. So now that we've been reminded about what happened in the episode, it's now time to rank this episode. And as always, we'll be ranking on our mostly objective ranking list, followed by the personal ranking list. So to start with, we have 1 point for our single arc supporting character growth, and this was Chabo, who we met as a very distraught child, making very foolish decisions, and during the party feast, he sits with Nojiko, and she comments on how he doesn't seem to be as depressed as he was before, and Chabo reveals that he has had a change in mindset and is now looking forward to the future and the possibilities of rebuilding and what that will mean for them, because once the crew leaves, they can't really rely on the Marines, and so they're going to have to, do everything on their own and rebuild from scratch, which shows significant character growth from where he started. Then we have 2 points for our single arc main character development. And we have the origin of Nojiko's tattoos, which she got in solidarity with Nami. And then the origin of Genzo's pinwheel, which again, he got so that Nami wouldn't be afraid of him. We then have a positive 3 for the successful emotional impact. And first, I found the Pinwheel story to be really sweet, how it was his idea on how he could interact with Nami because he wanted to, she would cry every time she saw him, and then he put the pinwheel on. And then more so than that, the reason I gave the points was when she's in the house and during the party, Nami does spend some time at Belmer's grave and asks Genzo and Nojiko if they think Belmer would be proud of her or let her become a pirate, like what they would think of her choices. And, they both say that she would have allowed Nami to live the life that she wants to live. I'm paraphrasing, but essentially that's what it boils down to. And then as she's leaving the house for the last time for a while, we then see Belmer's like ghostly hand giving her a little boost out the door, which you could see as her approving in a way, which I thought was really sweet and obviously successfully emotionally impacted me. So that is 3 points. I also gave 3 points for the impactful slash memorable moment line, etc. And to me, it is a very memorable scene, the pickpocket exit of Nami from the village. I feel like, one, it's very fitting for her character, and also amusing, and also, I think, reassures also the villagers that she hasn't changed and she's still her as she goes out into this new phase of her life, which makes it impactful. And then lastly, we have a +4 for our multi-arc main character development, which is that Nami gets her old tattoo removed, gets a new tattoo, and leaves her money behind. And while we haven't seen the tattoo on Nami yet, we do see the picture that she provided to the doctor that she wanted tattooed, and it is meant to be kind of an abstract tangerine and pinwheel design representing Belmer and Genzo, who are like her parental figures, which again is very sweet. Like, this episode was very sweet. And that is 15 points. I did take a token -2 for the negative messaging or behavior because just pickpocketing is wrong. Don't pickpocket people. But obviously it's fitting for her character and it is a show about pirates. So objectively wrong to pickpocket. But emotionally, do we care in this particular context? Not really. Either way, it is over 10, so this is another 10 out of 10 episode. Bringing us now to the arc ranking so far for our mostly objective ranking. And again, if more than one episode has the same score, we rank in the episode order. And so in first, we have the most wicked man of East Blue, Fishman Pirate Arlong. Luffy stands up, end of a broken promise. Proud tall warriors, dramatic battle of Sanji and Usopp. Bursting out, Fishman Arlong, fearsome attack from the sea. The end of the Fishman Empire, Nami is my friend. This episode came in 6th, setting off with a smile. Farewell, my hometown, Kokoyashi Village. Usopp's death, Luffy yet to land. Luffy drowning, Zoro vs. Octopus Hatchan. The Witch of Kokoyashi Village, Arlong's female officer, survive. The Mother Belmer and Nami's village, or Nami's family. Luffy in trouble, Fishman versus Luffy pirates. Luffy's best, Nami's courage, and the Straw Hat. Reunited, Usopp tells Nami's true story. And then the Hidden Pass, female fighter Belmer is currently in last place. For my personal ranking of this episode, I gave it a 10 out of 10, and that's mostly because for me, for whatever reason, this episode had a huge emotional impact. I thought almost every scene was sweet. I enjoyed the comedic aspects of the party, how Luffy spends almost the entire party looking for a melon that looks like a ham, and Usopp, of course, telling his story. Everybody's kind of closing things up, and then Nami's backstory again was really sweet. We learned the origin of Nojiko's tattoos, the pinwheel, which was an adorable story, an adorable reason why he had it on his head. Obviously, all of the impactful moments with Belmer, who wasn't there, but then the closure that Nami gets and the ghost hand, and I just felt like it was such a sweet episode. And no, there wasn't a lot of action in it, but I felt like it gave a really nice wrap up to everything that had happened and everything that we had learned and been hinted about with regards to Nami, because Nami's backstory started to be hinted at like way, way back, even in like, I think even as early as like the Orange Town art. And so, to finally have that all wrapped up with a bow, to know everything that she had been through and that she's now got her closure and that she's now able to move on into truly a new phase of her life and fully be part of the crew, it just worked for me. So I don't really have anything negative to say about it. And then that is why I decided to give it a 10 out of 10, but it is not first place so far. It is in second. So first place is Luffy Stands Up, End of a Broken Promise, then this episode, Setting Off with a Smile, Farewell, My Hometown, Kokoyashi Village, Proud Tall Warriors, Dramatic Battle of Sanji and Usopp, Luffy Drowning, Zoro vs. Octopus Hatchan, The End of the Fishman Empire, Nami is My Friend, Luffy in Trouble, Fishmen vs. Luffy Pirates, The Most Wicked Men of East Blue, Fishman Pirate Arlong, Usopp's Death, Luffy Yet to Land, Reunited, Usopp Tells Nami's True Story, Survive, The Mother Bell Mare and Nami's Family, Bursting Out, Fishman Arlong, Fearsome Attack from the Sea, The Witch of Kokoyashi Village, Arlong's Female Officer, The Hidden Pass, Female Fighter Bell Mare, and then in last place so far for me is Luffy's Best, Nami's Courage, and The Straw Hat. Bringing us to the saga rankings so far, where we rank each of the arcs against each other, and we have on a mostly objective ranking Romance Dawn arc in first place at 86.67%, Orange Town arc in second, 76%, Bredy arc at third is 68.33%, Syrup Village currently in fourth at 64%, and the Arlong Park arc so far has 112 out of a possible 150. Personal ranking side, Orange Town arc is in first place so far at 74%, Romance Dawn arc in second, 66.67%, Brady arc third is 52.5%, and then the Syrup Village arc is so far in last at 49%. Arlong Park arc has so far earned 105 out of a possible 150. And that brings us to the final segment of our series ranking so far. And we have our mostly objective ranking for East Blue Saga so far at 25 out of a possible 80, and then the personal at a 14 out of a possible 80. But with that, we've now rewatched and ranked One Piece East Blue Saga Arlong Park Arc, Episode 44, Setting Off with a Smile, Farewell My Hometown, Kokoyashi Village. Like and subscribe if you'd like to, and I'll see you in the next episode.